introduction. Now we're gonna. All right. Hey, everybody. This is the awkward time where I just wait for people to file in. There's nothing to say. Who will be first? All right. I don't know that person, but you're first. All right. Hello. All sorts of folks coming in here. How's it going, everybody? Oh, my sister-in-law's here. Hi, Alicia. This is me going up a couple minutes early, trying to get some folks in the room here. Hi, Ryan, Stephanie. All right. Oh, my father-in-law is here, and Linda. Hi, guys. Laura Cortese. This is fun. We don't even have to do the conversation. I could just look at all my friends' names and wave digitally. I'm coming to you this week from vacation on Cape Cod, and I forgot my tripod and my little light that makes me look better than I actually look. So I have a little bit of a jerry-rigged setup here, and it doesn't look awesome, but we're going to go with it because my guest is going to make it look fantastic. Hello from Denver. Hi, Steph. Is Judy in this interview too? No, Judy is downstairs sleeping in her chrysalis. She cannot be disturbed. Hey, Heather. All right. Oh, wow. 19 people. All right. No pod on the cod. Awesome. I love it. All right. Well, we got some folks here, and we got double digits, which is usually what I'm waiting for. I don't know why I've chosen that arbitrary yardstick. But Chris. But we're just going to go. All right. So, last week's ology, pretty special. I've been really excited to spring that one on you, and I didn't know how I was going to top it. But this week, I think we're going to do that. I'm probably more excited for this week's guest than any other guest I've had. No offense to my other guests. But every other episode of ology, we've kind of highlighted these artists, these creators, friends of mine, that about different topics. And I think there's this notion of artists and creators as, these highly individual sorts of folks. But I can tell you with much experience in this regard that there is no artist out there that can do what they do entirely alone. There are no truly solo artists. Everybody has a team, a support team to some extent, family, friends, professional folks, supporting them and helping them do what they do. And it goes both ways too. And so for this week, I thought it would be fun to kind of shine the spotlight on part of my support team that is not necessarily in the limelight all the time. And I wanted to just have as my guest my greatest source of strength and my biggest source of support, my wife, Polly Mathewson. And I'm going to call her up here and see if she can, if we can find our guest. Sometimes it's hard to find people to dial in. Oh, there she is.
It's hiding in the corner.
There we go. Really high-tech setup for this week. You can see. All right, good. Hi, Polly Mathewson.
Hi, Mark Orelli.
It's not the same name, is it?
No. The last name?
Yeah. Did you think I was talking about somebody else in the introduction?
I thought you were going to go back to Joe Henry and God. I wasn't quite sure what was happening, but I figured it was me since I was sitting next to you.
They're on the support list too, but you're at the top, I have to say.
That's good.
I know, and I'm not just saying that because we're on camera together. So
resist the urge to Go ahead.
Well, you can wave at people. You can talk to people. Whatever. There's all sorts of people here. Linda's here. Denty's here. Laura's here, and people are like waving to each other. This is awesome. All right. So basically, you probably saw in a post a few days ago or a couple days ago, I posted a picture of me in very baggy jeans playing a very early folk festival.
It's hot.
It was hot, as a matter
No,
of like.
you were hot. Yeah.
Well, standards were different back then, I have to say. And I just thought we would recount a bit of that story here because I went through that experience of performing in the middle of this forest where there was a gypsy moth outbreak happening. And I had the gypsy moth pheromone on me, as I had explained in the story, which you can go back and check later. Mm-hmm. And I was attracting all sorts of male moths. As I remember it, I did a sound check and had a similar problem earlier that afternoon. And I remember it being actually very hot. And I remember, for some reason, I was sound checking in shorts. And I can still...
That's how you did it in the 90s.
In the 90s.
Yeah.
That's how you sound checked, I guess. And I can still remember the feeling of the moths kind of flitting about my bare legs. But I remember a few weeks after this experience, I went to the Falcon Ridge Folk Festival in Hillsdale, New York. And you were also there, right?
I was.
Why were you there?
So you want to hear my... Okay, so I was living at home, not working. And my friend Linda Scher, who's on here, was like, come on, you gotta go. You gotta come to this Falcon Ridge Folk Festival. And she was playing with Camp Hoboken. And they had rigged up a deal where they got backstage passes, or they were performing it, whatever. You know what I mean. And I was like, cool, backstage pass, folk festival, let's go. So I was with her. And we had to go early because we had to work. They had to work.
You had to hang out.
We had to hang out. I don't know why we went early. I just did what I was told. But we went to the volunteer open mic night, Thursday night. And I was sitting outside the volunteer tent, listening to the open mic, sitting next to a mutual friend.
We can name him.
We can name him.
Yeah, Christopher Williams, wonderful singer-songwriter. Used to live in Boston, now lives in Nashville, I believe. Hi, Christopher, if you're out there.
And Mark came up and started telling this ridiculous Moth story to Christopher Williams. And he was like getting really animated, and he started flailing his arms like he was pig. He's like, I feel like Pigpen. Everywhere I go, I'm swarmed with moths. And I turned and I looked and I'm like, who is this guy? And Chris introduced us, and I looked into Mark's eyes, and the bells went off in heaven, and it was love at first sight, and I knew I met my match. And I'm not being sarcastic when I say this. I know it's hard because I always sound sarcastic, but I truly knew in that moment that was it.
Well, the feeling was mutual because I had I was in graduate school, and there was a series of relationships that I had kind of fallen in and out of kind of rather aimlessly. And after I had extricated myself from the one that summer, I said, no more relationships, no more girlfriends. Like, we're just going to focus exclusively on music. I was at Falcon Ridge because it was one of the places you could network as an up-and-coming singer-songwriter, and I was volunteering to get in for free because I had no money.
Right.
And I worked in the record sales tent, and I was the only volunteer that knew all the differences between the like 20 million Greg Brown records, and I would explain them at length to everybody, whether they wanted to know or not. And so I was there to kind of advance my career, and I was like,
I was not. I was there for the party.
I had sworn off girls essentially for a little bit, just so that I could kind of get my music on track and get some of the drama that I felt was in my life out of my life. And then I met Polly that night, and I had the exact same bells. It wasn't just the moth pheromone making me lightheaded. It was, it was.
Well, it would have been males. You would have been attracting males.
True. So the analogy doesn't
Pheromones,
really work.
yeah.
So yeah, we were
Maybe
there.
you attracted Christopher Williams.
Didn't work out with me and Christopher. We're friends. Oh, and Linda's saying she has photos from that year.
We had photos we were going to show. We forgot.
Yeah, we had photos, and they're at home with the fancy light and the tripod.
Okay.
So maybe we'll do second volume or something. So anyway, that's how we met, and what else were we going to talk about? We took notes.
We took notes.
That's the story, and we can take questions too, maybe throughout here.
I guess we were going to highlight the fact that I went to Falcon Ridge for the friends and the party and the music, mostly the music, but
yeah, partying
was
maybe just
a highlight, and you were really there to advance your career. So, I guess the point is that I am a music lover.
Literally. You walked right into it. Come on. And I'm horrible at swearing off. I was horrible at swearing off of relationships. I've become very good at it.
Now, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
We're exclusive, right?
Exactly. Yes. Very exclusive. I don't know where you'd find the time. This is the first. We're a little giddy because this is the first time we've been alone as a couple since the start of the pandemic, because there's no childcare and the kids are around. Everyone's in the house all the time, and it's like you can't even have a conversation of full sentences. And so now we're struggling to get to that point. We'll get there. Well, so I see there's some questions coming in here now. There's some people, I know a lot of people here. We both know a lot of people here. So we're getting one.
How does love at first sight evolve?
Well,
that's a good question.
Funny you should ask, because that's another thing that we were thinking of talking about here, and that was these kinds of watershed moments in as the relationship evolved. It's like, there's that initial kind of love at first sight thing, and that'll get you a little ways, but then
well, we didn't get married until 4 years later.
Right. Took it.
So that was,
I guess that's relatively slow, right?
I mean.
But that first moment, so Polly moved to Northampton where I was living, and we were kind of in the same area, dating, courting, whatnot. But then you kind of tapped out of the valley at some point. There just wasn't a lot of professional opportunity
it's a small
for
town.
you there.
I wasn't quite ready.
Yeah,
so I
very
moved back
small.
to Boston.
So Polly moved back to Boston, and it was up to me to figure out what to do then, because I really wanted to be with her, but I also really loved Northampton, and I felt like a lot of my professional life was there, and I think I was just about to start Compass and Companion at that point, and it just didn't feel like the right time to move and upend my life. So you went off to Boston, and I stayed in Northampton. Did I last weeks or months or days?
It was much shorter than.
Yeah.
I think we were going to try a long distance thing for like a year.
Right. Long distance being like Massachusetts.
2 hours.
Yeah,
but you couldn't last.
I couldn't last, and that was one
maybe
of those.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Or or a month.
A couple months at most.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what we're talking about here with these watershed moments, where it's like you get to a point in a relationship and you have to decide, what do you choose? Are you choosing the relationship, and you choosing that person? Are you prioritizing that on some level, or are you choosing some other concern that feels to be more pressing at that time? And we've been together, so that was 1998, so that's 22 years now.
Yep.
And married for 18 of them, and I know, and we just kind of get to every time you get to those moments, we kind of keep choosing this, right? I know I am. There's gonna be snorting. It's all good.
We do choose each other. Totally. This
Right.
is the longest. This pandemic is the longest time we've been together consistently ever.
Right?
They're calling me out as a photographer,
I
which
know.
I think is amazing.
I know.
I
You
forgot.
are good. You
I
are
know
a
how
good
to take
photographer.
pictures.
It's like it's like your entomology. It's like something
Yeah.
you used to do a lot more of.
Oh, interesting.
But you're also good at. This is an interesting one. Which of Mark's songs are your favorites? That's kind of putting you on the spot there. You want time to think about it?
He has so many. So it's
Strong
hard
start.
to choose.
Strong start.
In general, I like the ones where he sings really high.
Doesn't narrow it down. At all.
And that have a good groove that you can dance to. And
That narrows it down considerably.
And
You like Stranger's Eyes? Is
I
your
love
favorite.
Stranger's Eyes and Blindsided, and you actually wrote a song. I think I threatened you. I was like, why don't you write a song with my name in it? And that took a while. But
yeah,
but you did.
I had to go to the more
That was
formal
good.
Pauline rather than Polly.
But it's beautiful.
That's one of my favorite songs that
Yeah.
I've written. Yeah, well, it's funny, when we first met, I gave her a copy of my CD and sent her home with it,
Right.
and so as we started to court, it was
Whoa. Let's back up.
Okay.
All right. So we're back at Falcon Ridge.
yes,
And classic folk song. We're leaving the festival and we're exchanging information. And it dawns on him that I live on the Cape, and he's like, "Hey, I got a gig there in a couple weeks.
true story.
Think I can stay with you for free?"
Did
I think you did ask.
Did I
to
say?
stay. I don't
did
know.
I?
No,
No,
you
because
wouldn't have done that.
I had a field. I did my field research here, and I had
Yeah,
a
but it was
place to
closed.
stay.
You were leaving the lab. Anyways,
Oh, man, this-
so he gave me his CD, and
And what did you do with that?
I
CD?
listened. I put it in the car. CD-ROM.
No, you put it in the player or just in the car?
I put it in the player on the way home, and
Okay.
Linda and I listened to the first couple songs,
Okay, all right.
and it was there was a lot of songs on it.
There-
23?
No, not that many.
Oh.
But
I didn't listen to the whole thing, all right?
what we're getting at here is I had a policy early on that I did not want to be one of those guy musicians and hooking up with the people.
Random girls on the Cape?
No, hooking up with people that came to see me play.
Oh.
I wanted someone that I knew outside of that, or that knew me outside of that, because playing and being on stage is such a small percentage of your life. It's very important to me, and I put a lot of importance on it, but it's a very percentage-wise small importance in my life, small part of my life. And I am a certain person on stage, and for me, it's not that different than I am in real life, but it's a little different. And I didn't want someone to fall in love with that guy and then have to spend the majority of their time with the guy that's off stage and go, oh,
That would be a shock.
he's not as compelling as that guy that's on stage.
Singing all the time?
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
take away the lights and all that stuff, it's not as impressive.
You got
So-
the bug guy
Exactly.
who loves Judy.
So I was like, I need someone to know me off stage first,
True.
And so, but then there comes that point, right? Another watershed moment when it's like, okay, I mean, I don't want you to just be in love with the singer, but you do kind of need to know if I'm good, if you
Right.
like
So
it.
you did the gig on the Cape, and
Yeah.
I went, and you played River Road?
Might have been River Road.
I think
yeah.
you played River Road. And after the gig, I was like, oh, I love that song, River Road. And he was like, it's on my CD.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't listen to it. But he still wanted to go out with
And
me.
I was like, oh,
Great.
I see. Interesting. This is good. This is the kind of situation I was going to get in when.
Yeah, I was your dream. I was like,
yeah. I said I didn't want
You
someone
said you
that
didn't
was
want
bowled
it.
over by
Right.
my musical prowess. But then when I
You
met
really
someone that
did.
wasn't actually bowled over, I was still in love.
But ultimately I was.
Yes, we
So
got
then
there.
we were dating, and then it was like getting serious or whatever. And in my mind, I was like, I have to see this guy play because
Like for reals. Not
for
just,
real.
Yeah.
Because and he was thinking she has to see me play because that would be like a deal breaker. So you had a band gig at Passim,
yeah.
for the
campfire. Labor Day campfire.
Was it did we find out if it was the first campfire ever?
I think it was the first
Yeah.
campfire.
And then that sealed the deal. You had like this great band set.
Yes.
You were electric. You did that thing where you elevate the crowd with your singing. It was beautiful, and I was like, oh, he's the real deal.
And it worked. And from then on, we were like,
That was it.
that was it. We were exclusive. So, I mean, there are other moments too, like talking about support, and the support goes both ways. So, for example, I didn't want to call you on here and just like celebrate all the times when you supported me, because and not that I don't want points for supporting you, but like it goes both ways, and I think that's part of what a healthy relationship is. So when I followed you to Boston that time, like I didn't necessarily want to go to Boston, but you were there and I wanted to be with you, so I went to Boston. There were other times, like when we were in Boston, I had early on in my career semi-serious health challenge where I kept getting spontaneous lung collapses out of nowhere. I guess that's why they call them spontaneous. But I was pretty dejected about it, and it obviously affected my singing, and it turned out to just be this congenital thing, but at the time I didn't know why it was happening, and I was probably pretty miserable to live with. And I remember Polly saying to me at one point, like, you need to decide what you think the universe is asking of you. If you think the universe is telling you you're not cut out for this, and you need to quit, then you should quit. But if you think the universe is telling you that is asking you, like, how badly do you want to do this, like, prove it to me, then you need to kind of dig in a little bit and stop complaining. And I went with the latter choice, but I don't know if that would have occurred to me without you saying that in quite that way. So that was another moment.
So you're welcome.
Yep.
And you're welcome, Mark
Yes,
Riley
right?
fans. Could have been over. I think I was reading The Alchemist at the time.
Oh, that was like a...
And that was like a, that's one of the themes of the book of like, is the universe testing you? What's in your heart?
Yeah.
How much do you want it?
I feel like it was.
So I can't take credit for all the
Well,
lies, but
I didn't know that, so that...
Well, I'm revealing it now. As you were telling it, I was like, I was probably really into The Alchemist at the time.
That makes a lot of sense. And then I guess what were some other moments? Well, then you were in Boston. You were in magazine publishing, and then you decided you wanted a change of career and to become a physician assistant. Mm-hmm. And we needed to get you back to school. Yep, still a PA, and so we moved to Portland so that you could go to grad school.
Yep. And
that was very exciting and very scary time because I was the only one working. And
that's when you became a side band.
Yeah, that would have been 2004 to 2006. So that would have been Hillbilly Pilgrim to like Hope and Other Casualties, that kind of era. And there was a lot of gigging, that was when I started playing with Laurie McKenna and Katie Curtis, and I did some more work with Chris Delmhorst during that time. So there was a lot of stuff going on that I was supporting you by working a lot and being gone so that you could study.
Right.
I wasn't in Portland a ton, but I loved it there and we loved it there. But then when it came time to get a job for you, it was like, if we stayed there, it was just going to be a lot more traveling for me. So we moved back to Boston.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
That's where we are.
That's the story. Yes, frontline worker, right here in our basement. Here we go. This is, I think that's Sally. I want to know for real if Polly has ever heard of fibromuscular dysplasia,
Oh yeah, Sally, we've talked about that.
antiphospholipid antibody syndrome, or May Thurner.
Jumbles the Hound joined.
Jumbles the. Yeah.
Rough.
Oh my gosh, that's our first.
Exciting.
That's our first.
It's our first dog.
First dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Polly is a physician assistant and has been a great source of comfort and support. As once we had kids, it was like I didn't have to go too far to ask someone if that was a real problem, because she could say, "Oh no, don't worry about it," or like, "Yeah, take him to the emergency."
I still just said stop complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. What else were we going to talk about?
We were gonna talk, since we're on the PA topic, we were gonna talk about like that I'm in primary care and how I use music. We talk a lot about, you'd think like, how do we be compatible in different careers? Like, why would it be easy? What does that mean?
The text I just got? I have no idea.
Oh, my sister's texting. Anyways, we were going to talk about how music is so important to me in filling up my bucket.
Yes.
In dealing with, just the whole range of humanity, the joy, the sadness, all the things that come with it, and how I actually use Mark and his music and his whole community with music to really restore, to go back into medicine. And I think that that's been crucial, because at times when we've had choices and made decisions about what you're doing, like, I really get it. I get how important the work is to keep creating music, because I really rely on it as a person.
Yeah, you can see the function of it beyond the you just want to get up on stage and have people clap for you.
Well, people always ask me like, "Oh, are you a musician?" I'm like, "No, I'm a listener."
Very true.
Because if there's no audience, then, well, there's no audience now, so it's like.
And
COVID.
See how great it is.
Yeah,
It doesn't
awesome.
work without the audience. It does not work without the audience.
But that is, I think that was important. All right, now let's.
I love this. This is good. Curious if Polly gives Mark feedback on new music and songs, and if so, how do you deliver the tough feedback?
This has been a work in progress.
Yeah, it's changed over the years.
Right?
Because I used to come to you with every new song like when the ink was dry.
Well.
Didn't I?
Yes, and I think I gave some unsolicited input sometimes when it was not being asked for.
Maybe.
So now I think you got, at some point you were like, this is not done. I'm not looking for feedback yet.
Yeah, I think that's important.
And then, so I'd keep my mouth shut.
Oh yeah, I think it's important because I respect your opinion. I want it. You're like the first person to almost hear basically almost every song. Occasionally there's been something that was so new that I wrote it and played it that night or something. But for the most part, Polly hears everything first, and I've just kind of learned that she doesn't want to hear your rough drafts. She wants to hear like.
That's not fair.
Well, you're like. You don't like the rough cut. You want give me your best shot.
Oh, I see.
Like Mathewsons don't take rough footage. That old joke.
I also get ignored a lot. Like sometimes I have opinions, and you're like, okay, it's like a data point, and then you should go play it for Zach. And he's like, that song's awesome.
That has happened
twice, at least.
Yeah, but
in terms of.
That's happened kind of as I've grown as a writer. Like, I don't know if I would have been
earlier,
had that confidence earlier.
Right.
I would have been much more amenable and or just craving feedback at a certain craving validation really at some point. Like, I've come to crave feedback and critique. But I think at first when you start out, you're like, I wrote this song, I'm so excited about it, just tell me that it's great. And then sometimes it is great, and they tell you that, and sometimes it's not great because they're not all great, and sometimes you get told that, and it can be, especially as a young writer, it's really hard to know what to do with that. So we've kind of evolved on that, and there's times when the song has been made just undeniably better from Polly's input, and then there's other times, far fewer, where I've said like, no, I'm hearing the whole track in my head. I need to do this and put it out that way because it's just that's the way that it needs to be, and it doesn't mean I don't respect your opinion. Just means it's my name on
Also,
the record.
I'm like, and I'm a folk music audience listener. So it's like
You should acronym that.
you should, yeah, F.
A female.
What? Wait, what?
FMAL.
Oh,
female.
Yeah.
That's bad.
That's not good.
No. Who gets recognized more? Oh, I don't
What
think.
do you mean? Oh, for
Just walking around?
celebrity-wise?
I don't know.
Me.
I don't know.
Just kidding.
Well, someone asked, was it your sister who asked that who your other favorite artists besides
Who are my
me?
other favorite artists?
Hi, Robbie. Wave to Robbie.
What's in my playlist right now? Amy Helm.
This is your cooking playlist?
Yeah, I have a running and a cooking playlist.
I love the cooking playlist because I know that it's
Dinner's coming.
good things
Amy
are happening.
Helm,
Who Knows Where the Time Goes by Sandy
Denny.
Yeah, Fairport.
Dennis Brennan.
Oh, Peter Wolf is on that.
Do I have Peter Wolf too?
Yeah.
I thought I had a Dennis Brennan song on there. No?
You might.
I'm not confusing them.
I
Tell
don't
me.
know.
I might. That's bad. I'm sorry. I feel like I just lost music cred.
No. What else is on there?
You know, Nico Case.
Yeah, Nico Case is a big shared love.
Lori.
Yeah.
She's always a go-to.
You're a big Greg Brown fan when I met you.
Oh, yeah.
And I spent so much time explaining all the different records to you. See, this one here is where you set the poetry of William Blake to music.
Yeah.
Songs of
liner
innocence
notes.
and experience. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's Mel. Hi, Mel. Let's see. You should really make a book, a cookbook music book. Oh my God.
Cookbook music book. Oh, interesting.
We could do that. She's an amazing cook. The problem is you kind of fly.
I don't like recipes.
No, you
I need
just
someone else.
It's very intuitive.
If people are like, can deal with not having. I've been told by a very loving friend that what?
This is it. I just got a text from a friend that said David Crosby, and I'm like, I'm busy here, you know. Oh wow, and so I guess he said something about Barnstar. Which is great. All right, well that's great. We love David Crosby, and you've been listening to him longer than I have.
David Crosby.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
and Bob Dylan.
And Bob Dylan.
And the Beatles.
But that's only because her parents listened to really great music, and my parents had different tastes.
This was a moment in our relationship where Mark knows a lot. He's like a Renaissance man. He knows a lot about a lot of different things, and one of it is music and liner notes because he read all of the liner notes ever written. So we were in the car and we were having an argument about Bob Dylan, I think. Which is funny when you think about it, because
It's not funny.
It's very serious. It was a pre-COVID era where it felt important. And my retort was, I've been listening to Bob Dylan before you. I felt really cool. And that's been an ongoing joke.
And I did the math, and I was like,
he's like, no, you haven't. And I'm like, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Who's the better athlete?
Polly was field hockey, right? And
we don't have to list our sports. It's just like, who's the better athlete?
Well, it's apples and oranges. I like both.
Mark's really good at the head game in sports, and I'm a very good team player. That's a
great answer.
We're both highly competitive, so our kids
I like that.
Got the smush gene and are very competitive, but he's really good at like the mental game, staying grounded, and I'm good at rallying and getting the team going.
Yeah, that's very true.
Is that true?
Yeah. Should we talk a little bit about Stranger Size?
Oh yeah.
Right? Because
should we tell yours? You go ahead.
Well, I think a good place to start is, on Blindsided, the new record out now everywhere. Please get it. There's a lot of real, honest writing on all my records, but on this record, I kind of turned it inward, maybe a little bit more than I had in the past, and in the recent past. And there's some songs that get pretty. Not dark, but just honest. And the first time I've ever sent a record to my booking agent, who I've worked with since the beginning of my career. It's the first time she's ever called me up after listening to the record and said, man, I love the record. It sounds great. Is everything okay? And I think that one of the songs that she was probably thinking about was Stranger's Eyes. And I remember how that song started. It kind of came out of an argument, right?
Yeah, we had some kind of fight. I don't even remember the content.
I think
we don't have to.
Yeah. I mean,
but we had a big
it's
fight.
In the song. It's in the song. You didn't feel like I was seeing you, or you felt like you had to tell me after all this time, like it says in the song.
Yeah, you probably actually said those words.
You probably did. Like, I should probably give you a co-write. Like, just like, after all this time, I can't believe I still have to spell it out for you. And I remember feeling a little chastened by that. Though at first I'm sure I denied it. But then, like, the more I thought about it.
Well, the conversation, the heated conversation we had was left unended, which sometimes happens. And then you left.
It's not a great thing to do, though.
No, but I was sort of notorious for picking fights right before Mark goes on tour. And I think it was part of my...
back when I used to go on tour.
Yeah, back when he went on tour. I think it made it easier for him to leave if we were, like, fighting. I was like, fine, go. So I think that was my psychology. But...
That's so true.
I know.
Wow, I'm learning things here.
So anyways, so we had a big blowout. It was sort of unended. You left. You went away for a week, and then you came back with this song, and then you're like, "Can I play it for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And you played it, and I was just like wept because I was like, "Oh," because you left, and I was sort of like, "Oh, he still doesn't understand what I'm saying." But you just weren't able to articulate it in the moment. I
wasn't processing it in the
And then you processed it through your song, and then you came back and you wrote the song, and I was like, oh, he does get it. We can stay together.
Yeah. And here we are. We would, if the songs in Blindsided were like documents of an actual trajectory, like, we wouldn't be here in the same Instagram story. We're just, those songs are just moments, I think you were describing them this way. They're very honest, kind of unflinching looks at isolated moments, but they're not the whole story. They're kind of like the frame is really collapsed down to this. Which
I think is kind of a new writing for you, like to it's sort of what Laurie McKenna does. She takes out these moments, these ordinary moments, and makes it into this like extraordinary experience.
Yes.
And I think you started to do that a little bit.
I have
about relationships.
I have tried to bottle Laurie McKenna's lightning for a long time.
But it's just that's I think that's why I love those songs, even though it feels like they're breakup songs.
Yeah.
They're just about the realness of some moments.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we are. Still cooking. Mostly her cooking. What do we got? Do we have any more questions here? We got a kid that we have to pick up at
before the tornado.
But yeah, there's a tornado warn. Watch. Just a watch. We're watching. Someone's watching, I'm sure. And then maybe eventually we'll get off and see what David Crosby said about us. Who's the better athlete? We did that one. Okay, let's see. Should really make a book. Yep, we're getting all sorts of. Oh. Yes, I don't know if your kid is with them or not. Okay, it helps people be honest about that stuff. It makes it more normal. You guys are great. Oh, thank you. No, it gives me great pleasure to kind of sit here with Polly. Like, I think the only time you've ever been on stage with me was at a private party for my 40th birthday.
Yourself? That I threw you?
Yes.
I went on stage? Yeah. Oh, wow.
This is the relationship. So we've never really appeared jointly before, is what
I'm not a stage, I'm not a stage. I was having kids change your relationship? Not at all. It's totally the same.
What kids?
Pre-post kids. Same.
Nothing, literally nothing has changed.
Just kidding.
We have kids? Yeah, no, that's been big. Obviously it changes the art and the music and the songs and the reason you work. And I think it probably changes, obviously it changes the relationship too, and that, just like in the music and all that, like the stakes are higher. Like things are very real when you have kids. You can't just walk away from anything.
Look at this
casually.
question.
Would your kids rather play Fortnite or go to your concert? Oh, definitely Fortnite.
Oh yeah. The problem is when Dad sings all the time, going to a live concert where you have to sit still and be quiet and listen to your dad is not appealing.
Yeah. Although I did read in, I don't know if it was in his book or it was in an article, but Bruce Springsteen mentioned that his kids, they could be lounging around in the bowels of the Meadowlands Arena backstage, this ginormous sports stadium, and he's like, they're completely uninterested and unimpressed
with Bruce
in the boss and what he does. I'm sure he's gotten it at home, like, okay, Dad, you're the boss, they just don't care. And so I figure if it can happen to Bruce, then I try not to take it too seriously. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely Fortnite. Oh my God, Ray Rizzo's here. Hi, Ray. Just as we're
wrapping up.
Kind of wrapping up. It's perfect timing, Ray. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
I think we're good.
That's POLLY-ology.
I think that's it.
There's other things, but we don't need to talk about those. Yeah. We'll do volume 2.
We'll do a he said, she said in February.
Oh, we should definitely do that.
If we're still, doing these. Sorry,
how are you gonna finish that sentence?
I know.
Fashionably late, as always. Ray, you're just too cool for punctuality. I understand. This is great. I thought I was going to end for a bit with this one because I just was running out of ideas, and then I got an idea. So I'll be back next week with another ology, but I'm not going to tell you what it's about now. I'm going to keep you on tenterhooks on the edge of your seat for 6 days, and I'll let you know on Monday. But thanks again for tuning into this, everybody. We miss you. Can't wait to see you again. Be safe, and wear the goddamn mask, and wash your hands and all that, and we'll get through this together. All right.
Bye.
This is Polly.
Yay.